See. Okay. What is good, YouTube? This is your boy Aaron.
It's Brian.
This is the Courtside View Podcast. We are back today, and we are talking about the NFC West division, the final week of our preview of the NFC, and we're concluding with the NFC West. And I want to talk about the Seattle Seahawks first, and then we'll get to the other teams. This team, I like Mike McDonald. I do. He was an excellent defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. They had an amazing game plan against the 49ers on Christmas, if you remember.
Mm-hmm.
And against the Kansas City Chiefs, they held the Kansas City Chiefs to under 20 points against Patrick Mahomes. That's an accomplishment in itself, too. So Mike McDonald, what I've been hearing that the defense, they seem energized. They seem like it's going to be much improved. You know, Pete Carroll, although in previous years was known for defense, it seemed like the defense had regressed with Pete Carroll, but with Mike McDonald, a new voice, it seems like they're starting to get back to that old style of just enforcer of intimidation when it comes to the 12th man, when it comes to Seattle Seahawks defense. Byron Murphy II, he was drafted to the Seattle Seahawks. He came from Texas, and what I've been hearing and what Brian told me too, I've been hearing some good things about Byron Murphy. Dude, he has been dominant in camp. He's been dominant in the preseason. Just some of the clips that I've seen, just some of the analysis I've heard from other former players. It seems like they expect big things for Byron Murphy. He seems like he'll be a game breaker, a game wrecker in the future. So that I'm very excited to see Seattle's defense this year. What about you? How do you feel about Seattle defense and also Byron Murphy?
As far as the defense goes, they have dudes on that defense, and they actually I think they've acquired some dudes in the offseason as well. I'm looking at, I think, they got Jonathan Hankins, who's a solid guy to have it at the one tech. I should know because he played for the Cowboys, and I was sad to see him go. But I don't know if they got Jerome Baker, solid middle linebacker. Let's see who else they get. They got a few dudes over here from free agency. But yeah, man, they really, I guess that's what happens when you get a defensive minded coach. You want to bolster up that defense because a lot of times the Seahawks for years they had dudes on the defense, but they as a unit, as a whole unit, they really couldn't get it together. And you would see they would be in a lot of shootouts, and Geno Smith would have to go band for band with these other QBs. And you either win or you either lose. But you bolster up that defense. I mean, you got players on the outside. You got Devon Witherspoon, Tariq Woolen. So you got those guys. You got edges. You got like guys like Boye Mafe, supposed to be a solid edge guy. You got Leonard Williams as well at the defensive tackle. So I mean, that defense should be very much improved. You got rid of some guys, like you got rid of what's his name? Short guy that plays safety for them.
Was it it wasn't Quandre Diggs, was it?
Yeah, it was Quandre Diggs. Yeah, he got rid of him. He wasn't performing up to standards. So we got Kayvon Wallace too. Interesting. But yeah, I expect this unit to be much improved compared to last year. As far as the offensive side,
that's my question on offense, is specifically the offensive line. Abraham Lucas,
he's
and
hurt.
He's on the PUP list, and Charles Cross. Those two dudes, they're probably the best out of the group. I looked at PFF; they ranked Seattle Seahawks offensive line, I think, 31st in the National Football League, and they brought in, I believe, Some of the dudes, they were like backups, they were like bubble starters. It's not a good look for the offensive line. Luckily, they have elite wide receivers on the outside and in the slot, but and then you also have some solid running backs. But it doesn't matter when you can't protect your quarterback, and
Mm.
that's going to be the biggest question mark entering the season. Matter of fact, it is the biggest question mark entering the season is that offensive line. Can Abraham Lucas and Ken Charles Cross be good? Be good. You know, I remember the rookie year. I remember hearing a lot of buzz surrounding Charles Cross in his rookie year, Abraham Lucas as well. Can they be serviceable for the Seattle Seahawks? Because, you know, left tackle, right tackle, those are two of the most important positions on the offensive line. And if you can have those two positions solidified, that'll do wonders for your team. But that interior, oh my God, who's center, right guard, left guard? Good luck.
Connor Williams, I'm familiar with your game.
Good luck. Good luck. It's
Laken
gonna be a long day.
Tomlinson, Anthony Bradford.
I want to talk about JSN for a minute, because I feel
Okay.
like this is the year where it should all come together. Like there should be no more. All right, we're gonna focus a lot on DK and Tyler Lockett, and then JSN will come along. Nah, like he needs to. There needs to this should be the year that they should really utilize JSN to his full capabilities, because I'm looking at a lot of clips of him in training camp, one-on-ones. He's a route running extraordinaire. Like he should be utilized a lot more, especially in the slot position where he does wonders in the slot position. He's quick. He's very elusive. He can make people miss. He can separate. So there's no excuse for the Seattle Seahawks to not utilize JSN to his full capabilities. I was seeing something about utilizing him like Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I agree, because he's that talented, and I think as a route runner and as a pass catcher, he could do a lot of things for the Seattle Seahawks. It's just about Geno Smith and that offensive line doing their job and trying, making sure that we can get the passing game to work and not just solely rely on just the running game. And I think this should be a big year for JSN. What about you? How you feel about JSN this coming
I
season?
was super high on JSN coming out of Ohio State in the draft. That was last year, correct?
I think so. Yeah. It
Yeah,
should be last year.
yeah. I was super high on him coming out of Ohio State. Um, Projecting to be the number one receiver off the board. I think his skill set from the slot is perfectly suited for the slot, especially in this system. You got DK on the outside, Lockett on the outside, Jackson Smith and Jigba in the slot. I'm not sure why they weren't giving him the looks as much as they should have last year. He's definitely had games where he was going crazy. I know against my Cowboys, we all
Mm-hmm.
know he was tearing us up over there. But like you said, I mean, I expect him to get more work and get him more involved in the offense, because Tyler Lockett, he's getting up there in age. I mean, he's still a good player, and we obviously got DK over there, but slot is a lot of teams is moving the receivers over the number one guys, moving them to the slot every now and then. But you got a bona fide guy in the slot like JSN. I don't know, ain't no linebacker covering him. You
Mm-mm.
get it's a mismatch. His routes are too clean,
Mm-hmm.
and he's not fast, but he's quick.
Yeah,
He
he's
can run
quick.
his routes properly, and he has good hands. So I expect him to be a huge focal point in the offense this year. But like you said, it's contingent on the offensive line being able to protect Geno long enough.
Mm-hmm.
But
And yeah,
yeah,
you're right. You're right about that. And the thing is that even if okay, the offense line's not good, him in the slot, I mean, since he's in the slot so much, you're not going to be able to throw down the field a whole lot. So you're going to have to throw it to the slot a whole lot, because you're not going to be able to throw it downfield because the offensive line's not going to be able to hold up. So there should be no excuse why JSN shouldn't be getting a lot more
the
targets this
the
season.
number one cheat to creating separation is motion, and
Yeah.
it is a daggone shame to see offenses not utilize motion almost
Mm,
every play.
mm.
motion in one dude tells you so much about the defense. That you can literally tell if it's man or zone based on emotion.
Yeah.
And as long as they, and I'm not too sure about who Ryan Grubb is. I'm not too sure. I know I'm familiar with the defensive coordinator, Aiden Dirty. Dirty. He was with the Cowboys last year and the years before that. I'm not too sure about Ryan Grubb and what type of offense he likes to run. But you better motion Jackson Smith all over the freaking field.
Yeah. Yeah. They
And you
said
got running
so.
backs too. So I mean, the
Guess
offense
what?
should be good.
So Ryan Grubb, he came from Washington. He was in, I think he was the
Like
offensive
Washington State.
coordinator, University of Washington.
Okay, who I thought you meant the Commanders. I was about to
Oh
say,
no
oh,
no
they in
no
trouble.
no 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 no! Oh my God! University of Washington. He was the
Okay,
offensive coordinator for 2 seasons, so he's transitioned into the Seattle Seahawks as the offensive coordinator. I'm not very familiar too much about the offensive scheme
I
for
mean,
the
I always
Washington for
thought
Washington.
what the Huskies was. Wait, was he was the Huskies coach?
He was the offensive coordinator.
I mean, a coordinator for them.
Yeah, he was the offensive
Well, if you watched a
coordinator.
little bit of Michael Penix film, you should know a
Oh
little bit of
yeah,
what they like to do
I,
on offense.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I don't know what
Oh,
scheme they were
okay,
running. I
I
don't
got
know if it was an air raid. I don't know if it was a, pro style. I don't know. I don't know what they were running. I don't know if it was spread, but it worked. It was amazing. I mean, they made it all the way to the final game, so something had to click. And Michael Penix, he made Michael Penix look like a freaking amazing quarterback. So it should work. Romo Dunze, he was amazing on under that system. So oh
you.
yeah,
Jalen
and
Polk.
and then remember they had three really good receivers. Well, Seattle, you could say the same thing. They have three
Yeah,
really good receivers, and they were able to spread the wealth around each receiver, and each receiver were able to get theirs. I feel like that can transition well for the Seattle Seahawks and what they're trying to do.
Washington, they did have a really good O line though.
That's the thing. Their O line was one of the best. That's the problem with the Seattle Seahawks. How are they going to address that O line?
I
Because
think the biggest thing for them would be continuity because I
yeah,
see a couple new guys. You got Connor Williams, Lakin Thompson, everybody else you drafted, but Lucas
yeah,
Abraham missing reps in
it's
the
not good.
training camp and preseason
Hmm.
mess up the continuity a little bit. So that's probably the biggest concern for them.
Yeah. Uh, as long as Sam Howell's not starting at quarterback, they should be relatively decent on that
I was
end.
I was seeing Sam Howell propaganda from Seahawks fans. I was like, oh Lord, they drinking the Kool-Aid like them Washingtonians did.
Get out of here. He would be a disaster as the quarterback because he would hold the ball too long and he would get
Mm.
sacked every time. It would be an absolute disaster. It would be just like on the Commanders where he would hold the ball too long, he would overthink things, and it would be either a turnover or it would be a sack. It would just be a disaster. I just feel like it's a good thing that Geno Smith he was able to get healthy and he's a relatively serviceable quarterback. I wouldn't be very comfortable with him as my quarterback, but at least I know that we don't have a sorry excuse for a quarterback. We don't have a quarterback that shouldn't even be starting or that's a bubble starter. So uh this team, oh man. I don't know, man. I feel like are we sleeping on the Seahawks?
Um, Maybe a little bit. I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Seahawks. I don't think they're like any contenders or anything, but I don't. I mean, they'll probably be in playoff contention for sure if Geno
It's
Smith stays upright and
yeah,
he doesn't
yeah.
have like major aggression or anything. But as long as the offense and as long as the defense is slightly improved and the offense remains clicking, I mean, they'll win a lot of games.
I think this team I
But they
think
are
this
playing in a
team
tough division.
yeah, but I think this team I think they'll be good this season. It's just that offensive line and I can't overstate how important the offensive line is. Like them trenches that's the in my opinion that's besides the quarterback, those are the most important parts of a team, like them trenches, the O line and D line and I think they'll figure out a way to work around it, and I expect them to win a, a good amount of games. I expect them to win 8, 9 games, be in the playoff hunt. It wouldn't shock me if they made the playoffs. I like this team. I like the new head coach. I think the offensive coordinator, the transitioning from University of Washington to the Seattle Seahawks, I don't see how it doesn't work. I like the receivers that they have. I think Noah Fan is a decent tight end. Kenneth Walker, I like Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. They have good running backs. They have a solid defense. Tariq Woolen, I don't know how much I can take from those training camp clips against Calvin Ridley, but he looked good to me so far. And with Calvin Ridley, I'll say this about Calvin Ridley. I watched a comparison between Calvin Ridley in 2021, right before he got suspended when he was on the Falcons, versus 2024. I don't see much of a difference in terms of his ability to separate, his quickness, his speed. And the fact that Tariq Woolen was able to keep up with Calvin Ridley, I think that's a good sign. I think Tariq Woolen, it seems like the head coach has really lit a fire under him. He seems more motivated than ever. I just don't know how that's going to translate in the regular season. Will he be a better man-to-man corner? Will he be a better zone corner? Because last year we saw with Pete Carroll, they would bench him in some games.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I don't know if he'll get better from this, but it
I'm
seems it
sure
seems
he
it
has
seems good to me.
measurables and all of that. A
He's
bunch of
like
his
six
tangibles.
three. He's like
Yeah,
6'3". Dude can run a 4.3.
yeah.
Crazy
He's not
measurables.
like stiff either. Like he can move very
No,
well.
he just needs the
Um,
IQ, the instincts.
yeah.
That's
Oh, as
about
far
it.
as Ryan Grubb, he
Yeah.
said earlier in the season, well, earlier in the year, I guess around like in June, he said we want to be a physical dominant team at the same time have that same explosive, confusing element that people are used to. And on using RBs in the passing game, he said, "Oh, I love doing that. I love doing that. We want to make every guy on the field, all five of them, as dangerous as possible from any position on the field."
Hmm. Hmm. What if they're going to utilize RPOs and bubble screens?
I mean, they got speed all over the field. You
Yeah,
could.
I would utilize that. Shoot, with all that speed on the outside and in the slot, and then you have Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. Like you have so many options. That's Yeah. This team is going to be solid. They're going to be a good team. It's just about staying healthy and figuring out a way to maneuver past that offensive line. Everything else it should take care of itself. I think Byron Murphy, he's going to be an
Oh yeah.
amazing rookie for them. Jerron Reed, he's a decent player as well. So man, they got some dudes. They got some dudes in the trenches and in and outside. Devin Witherspoon, I love Devin Witherspoon as a corner. So yeah, let's transition to the Arizona Cardinals. They've made some moves as well. Obviously Marvin Harrison Jr. He's on the Arizona Cardinals. Like everybody knows that he's going to
Yep.
be a stud. We see the clips. I haven't seen any clips of him on in preseason. I don't think he's played in preseason. I may be wrong about that, but I've seen him one on ones in training camp against other team corners, and he looks really good. Like he looks tremendous. They have a game today at 7 o'clock against the Colts, so maybe he'll play that game. Hopefully, but yeah, man.
Hopefully,
Yeah, hopefully. Oh, actually, he is gonna play the game. I think.
good.
Yeah, because he needs to
For some
because
reason, the Falcons are playing right now, yet
oh,
they're not playing Michael Penix.
hmm. Maybe they like what they see because he did play well the first game.
He's a rookie. He's not playing
I
no
know,
time unless Kirk Cousins get hurt. You better get him as much reps as you can.
I know. Hold
But
on,
let's
draft
start with the
picks.
I'm looking at the Cardinals roster. Definitely a work in progress as far as team building goes. They've
Yeah.
definitely acquired some guys
Mm-hmm.
over the offseason. My main concern with them is the offensive line
Yep.
because, like, outside of Pierce Johnson Jr.,
Mm-hmm.
like I see Will Hernandez. He was a guy most people were high on coming out of college, but he just hasn't really lived up to that expectation that people
Mm-hmm.
put on him. Jonah Williams, he's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, he's okay. Well, I'll say this. I know his last year with the Bengals, I think they moved him to a different position on offensive line, and
He's
he
playing
was
right
well.
tackle.
Okay. Oof. I forget what position because I remember he was a left tackle and he was trash. Like he was bad
I
on the
think they moved
left
him to
tackle.
right tackle
And
last
he
year,
was
and he
pretty
played better. Yeah,
yeah, he was pretty good for the Bengals his final year. So maybe I don't know how he was with the Cardinals the previous season, but all I can go off of is his final years with the Bengals, and he played really, really well. I just don't know how he was with the Cardinals because I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't watching no Cardinals games, especially when Kyler Murray wasn't playing any games for them for like the first half of the
yeah,
season. I'm not watching no Cardinals games. We saw one game and it was against the Commanders when we went to the actual game to go see them,
yeah,
and we saw how awful they were with Josh Dobbs. So
yeah,
I
exactly.
wasn't watching no Cardinal games.
I mean, they got
Um,
Evan Brown at left guard. I'm not familiar with his game at all. They used to play at Seattle, it seems. So, he got drafted at Seattle. So I don't know. I don't even know how to pronounce the center's name. I'm not even going to try to butcher that live on YouTube.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean it's the offensive line stuff. That's pretty much what it is. They have weapons though. They got
Yeah.
weapons. Trey McBride is good. Obviously, we already know Marvin Harrison Jr. Michael Wilson is on the up and up.
Mm-hmm.
They got Greg Dortch. I'm not too familiar with. I know who he is, but like I
Yeah,
don't really I
yeah,
can't tell if he's
yeah.
like good or not.
He's eh.
Yeah, obviously you got Kyler Murray. Run game is going to be good. They got freaking James Conner and Trey Benson. I was
Mm-hmm.
high on Trey Benson coming out this year, and yeah, I think the offensive side is going to be good. Now the defense,
Yeah.
that is, I'm gonna be honest. I recognize.
Hate to be a casual, but Sean Murphy Bunting, Buda Baker, who else we got? Who else we got?
I know Kaiser White used to play for the
Yeah,
Eagles.
Kaiser White, yeah. Zaven Collins.
Who are these
Um
edge rushers?
uh hey, I have no clue. Like what is going on right now? I hate to sound like a casual, but yeah, I don't know who these guys are. I'm sorry, Cardinals fans, but yeah, it's not looking too good.
Oh, they drafted Miles Murphy. Hmm.
I think that might be a different Miles Murphy.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a Miles Murphy from North Carolina. That's not the Miles Murphy that I think the Bengals drafted Miles Murphy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the one I think you're talking about. That the Miles Murphy from Clemson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's that's not the same Miles Murphy.
Okay. It's funny
Because
because they both play in, so I'm like,
yeah, if that was the Miles Murphy from Clemson, that would be a bad sign because he's fourth on the depth chart.
yeah. I was about to say, I was like, ooh,
I was like, oh, he's a bust.
I
But
know
yeah,
Michael
like
Wilson. But I mean, other than that, I don't really know these guys for real. That
Jalen
secondary is looking a
Thompson,
little.
I know Jalen Thompson a little bit, but I don't know. Like a lot of these guys, I don't really know how good they
Oh,
are.
you should
Like
know. You should know Catrell Clark.
Catrell Clark.
Didn't he play at Maryland? Or he played
See,
at Virginia. I don't know.
see, I think I've heard of Catrell Clark. He played for Louisville.
Dang it, I keep getting people confused.
It's all good, man. It's all good. Bruh, yeah, this defense, I hate. I
Oakland
will say this. I will
Liberty.
say this. Jonathan Gannon knows how to get the best out of his players, so I expect him to at least compete. Why you
Oh
make
yeah,
that face?
they going no, I was no, because you said Jonathan Gannigan, so I was like, that's true.
Yeah.
We
I mean,
seen it last year. Shoot, he beat my team. Freaking
yeah. I mean, he knows how to get the best out of his players, so I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of them overachieve. I just can't give you an honest assessment of the talent level because I don't really know much about these players. I don't have a good grasp of just how good some of these players are. Obviously, I know like the regular names that a lot of casuals know, but some of these other dudes, I don't know. I don't know if they just signed them, they just drafted them or whatever. But I just never heard of them before. Like they seem recent. They seem like they grabbed them out of the what college and placed them on the team, or they found them somewhere that nobody really knew about, and they plugged them into the team. I'm just not very familiar. Arizona's going to be fourth in the division. let's just put that right there. I just don't see them having a better season than three teams that we're about. That first of all Seattle, and then the other two teams that we're gonna analyze, which is the Rams and the 49ers. It's just this team it screams last place. Now in the NFC West, how many games do you win? Especially when it comes to this division being so competitive, that's a different story. But this team just screams fourth place. It still looks like a work in progress. It still looks like a team that's rebuilding, trying to get to a playoff caliber team. They're not there yet, and that's fine. Most people probably don't expect the Cardinals to really do much this year. I think it's more so the offensive side of the ball that they really expect a whole lot of things with Kyler Murray, with James Conner, and with Marvin Harrison Jr. And then you have Paris Johnson Jr. as the left tackle, who was tremendous for them last year as a rookie. So that's really about it. Trey McBride as well. He was a godsend for them last year. Like, he came out of nowhere and just started lighting it up. That's why they ended up not re-signing Zach Ertz. They let him go because Trey McBride was amazing for them.
Yep.
So besides that, I mean, Greg Dortch, he's one of the mid-tier wide receivers, gadget guys, and that's all I can really go off of. Their receiving core. I mean, Michael Wilson, I've heard some good things from him. Like, he's shown flashes, but I don't know how much I could really rely on him as the number 2 receiver opposite of Marvin Harrison Jr. It's going to be Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, James Conner, Kyler Murray. That's the offense right there. That's really the offense. And I don't know what more we could really say about this team. I think we can
We're just looking to see improvement.
Yeah, that's really what it is. This is a work in progress. Let's transition to the Los Angeles Rams. They lost Aaron Donald, so they're gonna have to replace him. Huge loss. Hall of Famer.
They did draft Braden Fisk, who I was high on coming out.
Yeah.
So. Well, they got to play an in. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. I think somebody that they drafted got injured recently. I don't know who it was, but I remember somebody may have gotten injured on their team. Maybe they're healthy now, but I remember someone may have gotten injured, but I don't know if that's a problem now.
Was it a defensive or offensive player?
It was a defensive player.
I don't see any injury designations on any.
Probably earlier in the offseason, around OTA. So maybe they healed and they're fine now. But let's see.
If I could describe the Rams team with one word, it would be youth. Youth all over the team.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these guys literally just got drafted in the past few years.
Mm-hmm.
And for what they had to work with last year, they overachieved.
They really did. Nobody expected them to be that good.
Yeah, but Puka came out of absolutely nowhere and became a legitimate top guy, played like a top 10 receiver his rookie year. He's looking to build upon that. You still got the vet in Matthew Stafford. Question is, can he stay healthy? I know he got injured in a joint practice against the Cowboys, so that he was seeing a lot of Jimmy Garoppolo. We already know about Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't even trust him as a backup.
Nah, I don't think he's a backup at this stage of his career. I think he's more of a third string guy, practice squad guy. He's regressed. It seems like he was a Belichick / Kyle Shanahan merchant. And ever since he left those two, it's been downhill. So yeah, I don't trust Jimmy Garoppolo. According to PFF, they have the number eighth ranked offensive line. So they have a pretty decent offensive line.
Yeah,
They have a really good running game. I know you mentioned Puka Nakua, but they also remember Kyron Williams as
Kyron Williams,
well.
yeah.
So that you drafted
And they got Blake. They
two
drafted Blake Corum
phenomenal
too.
rookies. Yeah, Blake Corum. I think Blake Corum, he's there to limit the amount of touches for Kyron Williams. You know, Kyron Williams got injured during the middle of the year, so they want to make sure that Kyron Williams can stay healthy throughout the season. Similar to the way I remember Alvin Kamara. You know, I remember he was getting banged up at one point, and they were drafted running backs to make sure that his workload isn't too much, and he's not they're not overutilizing him, and he can stay healthy, stay fresh throughout the entirety of the season. Because Kyron Williams, he's a tremendous running back, and you bring in Blake Corum, he was also a really good running back in college, and you bring him in, it's a nice 1-2 punch. You also limit the amount of throws that Matthew Stafford. You don't want Matthew Stafford to have to throw the ball a whole lot, especially he's getting up there in age. He's had some injuries in his upper body area, so that the offense. I believe the offense is going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing as long as Matthew Stafford is the quarterback. You still have Cooper Kupp. He's up there in age, but he's still a serviceable receiver. And I believe Puka Nakua, he's going to get better than what he was last year in his rookie year. I think he's going to be even better. I wouldn't be surprised if he finished top 3 in receiving yards. He's that tremendous. Like, the dude is very talented, and although when Cooper Kupp came back, his production went down, I think this year the Rams are going to finally transition into Puka Nakua is our number 1, and Cooper Kupp can be the number 2 at this stage of his career. So I expect that
Makes
to
sense to me.
happen. Yeah, I like the Rams. I think they're going to compete. They're going to be in the mix. The defense. Let's check the defense. Well, how do you feel about their defense? I mean, they drafted Jared Verse.
Hmm.
He's a pretty decent edge rusher.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, he's still. I mean, I've
His
heard a
hype, his
mixed.
hype train kind of fell off as the course of the season went on. At
Hmm.
FSU, people started paying attention to Dallas Turner and
Hmm.
those kind of guys. But yeah, Jerry's still a good player. They got Braden Fisk. They drafted him this year. I was high on him. I like this film. They
Hmm.
had some off-season additions. I
Tre'Davious
believe
White.
Trey White, Cameron Curl,
Hmm.
who was one of the few bright
Yeah,
spots on that Commanders defense last year.
yeah.
Who else? Who else?
Uh, I don't know. I don't
I,
know.
I,
Those
I'm
are the
not
only
too
ones I
sure. I
remember.
don't want to spew false
That's
information, but I mean
yeah.
they got dudes. Byron Young had a pretty solid rookie year last year, and he's
Hmm.
looking to get um build on that. I think it was Kobe Turner last year who played much better than people thought he was going to play.
Mm.
So I mean they got some dudes.
They had a good draft last year. That's what really
Hmm.
had them overachieve because nobody thought that they were going to be that good, especially what happened after they won the Super Bowl. Remember, they had like a down year. Stafford was hurt. Just everything went wrong for them. And people were like, man, you pay all that money to these guys. You give up all these draft picks. It's going to be dark times. Should they trade Stafford? And then the year after, they have an amazing draft and they're able to. People are like, oh, Stafford's the top 7 QB now. He's back to being top 7 QB now. So yeah, man,
The
they're
one
gonna be
thing I
good.
don't understand is them not really having a contingency plan for Matt Stafford. I'm a
Mm.
Georgia fan, but I tell you what, Stetson Bennett, he ain't it.
No, he's
He's
garbage.
not it.
Absolutely
I don't
garbage.
care what about that game-winning touchdown he had against the Cowboys in the preseason. He threw 4 interceptions. If Trey Lance wasn't hot dog water, that would have been a blowout against any competent QB. So yeah, I don't know why they didn't have a contingency plan for Stafford. Because if Stafford goes down, you could just chuck the season in the trash. because Stetson Bennett ain't gonna get you there.
Yeah, my thing is, why don't they have a competent backup quarterback? Stetson Bennett is just not it. And then the dude behind Stetson Bennett,
I don't even know who the heck that dude is. He sound like a
who?
generated player on CFB 25.
Who? Like, I never heard of the dude before. So the fact that I have to go on this rant again about these organizations not having a competent backup QB. It's important that you have an actual backup QB and not a backup and not a third string backup QB or a practice squad backup QB masquerading as a backup QB. And a lot of these organizations feel like some of these quarterbacks, oh, we can get them on the cheap and we can call them a backup. Like, no, they're not backups. Like we saw last year what a backup QB looks like and a third string QB looks like. We know now what is considered a third string and a backup. We saw Zach Wilson stink up the joint. We were like, okay, he's not a backup QB. He's a third string practice squad QB. We saw Josh Dobbs in comparison, and we're like, okay, although he can't get your team to the playoffs, we understand that he can win you some games at least. That's a backup QB. Joe Flacco, backup QB. Those are guys that you want to back up your
Brissett,
starter.
backup QB.
Jacoby
Tyrod Taylor,
Brissett.
backup QB. Gardner Minshew, backup QB.
Yes, Sam Howell, he's a backup QB. Like, we see all these things, but like a Marcus Mariota, like all these different QB, like they're not backup QBs. In these organizations, they trying to be cheap and not pay these QBs that are actual backups to back up their star quarterback or their starting level quarterback. It just makes no sense to me. Like, Stetson Bennett is not a backup QB. Like, they need to stop doing this. But when you pay all that money, gotta find ways to work around the system. And I guess the backup QB situation is how they work around the system. Just drafting a late round QB and thinking that it's going to pan out. Like, no, Stetson Bennett, he is a Georgia merchant. By the way, these Georgia QBs, I'm keeping my eye on you, Georgia QBs, because since Matthew Stafford, what Georgia QB has panned out in the league?
Beats me.
Aaron Murray, Stetson Bennett, Carson Beck. Carson Beck, I know you're like a 93 overall in college football 25, but in reality, I'm watching you. I'm keeping my eye on you because we see all these other QBs. Who was the Q? I forgot who was the QB before Stetson Bennett. I forget the dude's name. I remember Justin Fields had to transfer because the QB was starting, but that QB, he didn't pan out as well. I'm seeing all of these different Georgia QBs, and I see a trend ever since Matthew Stafford. I see a trend, and I'm keeping my eye on you. I'm keeping my eye on all you QBs coming from Georgia. You got all that talent. Just like with Ohio State with what was his name? JT Barrett, Braxton Miller, Cardell Jones, I hate to say it, Justin Fields. It wasn't until CJ Stroud that they finally got one right. But those other QBs,
God rest his soul, Dwayne Haskins.
Unfortunately, Dwayne Haskins. But I see what's going on. I see it. Putting up all them numbers, surrounded by all this talent.
It's low key a discussion I had about Georgia players in general, because they might just be scheme merchants. I'm not gonna lie, especially the defensive players, because
you know, my guys in Green Bay, they gonna prove you wrong on that one. You know what I'm saying?
I hope so.
we got a bunch of Georgia players in Green Bay. I'm telling you this right now. They gonna prove you wrong, because it seems right now they looking like they're gonna be very promising. But all those other teams, that's a different story. That's a different story. But the offensive weapons for Georgia, they all translate. Like, they all really good. But that defense. Yeah, but anywho, back to the NFL. The Los Angeles Rams. Yeah, man, I think they'll be good. I think their tight end position could be a little bit better. I mean, Tyler
Higby's
Higbee,
hurt
he's on the
actually.
puppet. Yeah, he's on the pup list. They could have upgraded in that area, but I get it. You know, you can only do so much with what you have when it comes to draft picks and it comes to free agency. So I can understand that. But yeah, man, I expect them to be in the hunt. They're going to be in the playoffs. I expect them to be as long as Matthew Stafford is healthy, as long as the O line and everybody else is healthy, they should make the playoffs. And yeah, man, Puka Nakua, I would love to have him on my fantasy team. I ain't gonna lie.
I bet a lot of people will.
I
That's
would
the
love to have him on
beautiful
my
thing
fantasy
about
team.
fantasy this year. There's so many wide receivers. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
don't even draft a running back. You draft a running back in the top 2 rounds, or you don't draft one until the fourth.
Hey man.
Because I'm
Hey,
stocking up on wide receivers. I don't
I'm
care.
I'm team. You know me. I'm an advocate of draft a running back in the first round. Uh,
Depends. I'll take Brees Hall in the first round.
I take Brees, I take Bijan, I take Christian McCaffrey. Those are my three running backs I'll take in the first round. If them three are already selected, then I'm going receiver. But those three right there, yeah, I'm taking them dudes in the first round. All right, let's transition to the final team. And this team is a bit confusing. A lot of things is going on with this team, the 49ers, San Francisco 49ers. Um, I still expect them to win the division, but a lot of things are happening with the 49ers. You have two of your best players. They're pretty much holding out right now. Brandon Ayuk, he reported to camp, but I still haven't seen him put on a jersey and run some routes for them yet. So remain to be seen. There's still some contract negotiations going on at his end. And Trent Williams, that's
Mm,
another player where he's
he's
holding out
holding
right
out.
now.
Yeah.
He wants guaranteed money because I don't think he has any more guaranteed money on his contract.
Um,
I feel like the media is not um I feel like the media is not putting more attention into the situation with the 49ers. Obviously, you have Brandon Ayuk, but Trent Williams, that's very vital. And then also, you got to remember, one of their best linebackers got injured in the Super Bowl.
yep.
One of the best linebackers, Greenlaw,
Greenlaw. Yeah.
bruh. So you're not gonna have him. You brought back your all pro safety, but he's still coming back from injury. I mean, a major injury. I think it was an ACL or either ACL
Hmm.
or Achilles. Dude, not many people are talking about the 49ers and the fact that they may regress this year. There's a possibility of them regressing this year off of
Listen,
all of the different just distractions with contract negotiations, holdouts, injuries. There's a
listen. If I had to
very
put
big
my if I
possibility.
had to put my money on which of the Super Bowl participants was going to have a regression, I'd put the house on the 49ers
Ooh.
because the Chiefs have Pat Mahomes. He's regression proof,
Mm-hmm.
and they
Mm-hmm.
upgraded their receiving core. But as far as the 49ers go, I mean, Trent Williams is a huge loss because their offensive line isn't like elite or anything, in my opinion. They're
No.
just pretty solid. And if Trent Williams don't show up week one,
Mm-hmm.
good luck because I have no idea who the heck Jalen Moore is.
Ho ho. Ho
Because
ho.
yeah, and as far as the offensive weapons go, they need to get an Ayuk deal done immediately. I don't think he's going to sit out any games because game checks mean a lot in the NFL. You don't play, you don't get paid.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the team could find you if they wanted to. But yeah, man, they drafted Ricky Pearsall.
Mm-hmm.
Last thing I saw from him, he wasn't getting any separation. I don't know if anything has changed in that department, but yeah, they got Debo. He can't really run any routes. CMC, he's dealing with like a foot injury,
Something like that.
uh, plantar fasciitis, something
Yeah.
like that, which
Mm-hmm.
is you can play on it, it's just
Yeah.
gonna hurt,
Yeah, it's gonna hurt. It's
and
gonna
you don't
build up.
know. Yeah, exactly, because Mari Cooper had that when he was with the Cowboys, and that was, oh my goodness, it was a plantar fasciitis game. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
man, but I'm looking at the offense is still Cal Shanahan. He's gonna make the offense run you give him 2 paper clips and a rubber band, he'll somehow make the offense work. But the defensive side of the ball, they did hire Nick Sorensen after getting rid of I forgot his name.
It was the former Cardinals coach, Steve Wilkes.
Yeah, Steve Wilkes. And I mean, Dre Greenlaw's hurt, gonna be out probably for the year. Yeah, he's definitely out for the year.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Hafunga is still recovering. He's not playing. They still have
Fred Warner, obviously.
they,
Fred Warner,
yeah, Fred Warner. I mean, Nick
Javon
Bosa,
Hargrave, Leonard
Yeah,
Floyd.
they got Leonard Floyd in the offseason, which people say was a big move for them. They still got Travarius Ward. He's a bright spot on that secondary.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, though, Jair Brown. He's a second year player. I'm not sure how he's been doing in camp or anything like that, but
Mm-hmm.
he's a solid player. From what I've seen last year, he's a solid player. Oh, they got Devondre Campbell now. Interesting.
Oh yeah, they did.
You're an expert on how did Devondre Campbell play last year? Oh, I guess that should tell me everything I need to know. That face right there.
Not good.
Mm.
Not good. What was the line? I remember we were talking about. What's his name? God. Devin White.
He was only good for running?
Yeah. Devin White.
So he can't cover, and sometimes he feels the wrong gap in the run.
Yeah. Bad in pursuit. Misses tackles. Can't cover. He was great the first year. But man, that final year, boy, I couldn't wait once he was gone. It was bad. It was really bad. Oh man, I'm glad we replaced him because bro, he was awful his final year. Yeah, maybe he'll be good under this scheme. I mean, he hasn't had a major injury. It's just when he has so many different responsibilities. That's the one thing I will say. The good thing about being on his team is that he's with Fred Warner, so he won't have as many responsibilities. That's the good thing. Maybe he'll thrive under this new scheme and this new.
They probably was thinking too much.
Warner. Yep, that's probably what it was, and because he was like, I don't know if he was the leader of the linebacking core, but I think he may have been the leader of the Packers linebacking core, and he had so many different responsibilities, and because of that, he just looked lost.
Not everybody can wear that green dot. I'll tell you that much.
No. So that final year, he was just under a lot of stress, and he was confused a lot of the times, and he put on a lot of bad tape. With the 49ers, he could work a lot better. So I wouldn't be surprised if he has a bounce back year for them. I'm just not confident enough. I'm not going to go there and just advocate for him like that. The corners, see with the 49ers defense, they've always had they would have one good corner, and then the other corners would be very mid. It's always that front seven that would do a lot of the heavy lifting, and the corners, they wouldn't have to do a whole lot. They just have to make sure that they hold their mans for a good 5 seconds, and then that front seven will get after you. Same thing. It seems like the same thing is going to be this year as well. I mean, the front seven is pretty remarkable, and you just have Ward out there. That's pretty much it. And that's all. That's all I can really say. They're still going to be a good team.
Yeah, I think they'll still win the division, in my opinion.
I just think there may be a regression.
Yeah,
I think there's going to be a regression period.
I don't think they're like a clear cut. They're coming out of the NFC pick this year, like last year was.
I think Ricky Pearsall. The reason they drafted Ricky Pearsall was they're gonna have to get rid of one of the receivers eventually. Brandon Ayuk. I get they're trying to pay him, but the Ricky Pearsall pick felt like, okay, they're gearing up to replace one of the receivers if they so happen to leave, if we so happen to trade them. And you said he had trouble separating. I heard he's a tremendous route runner, Um, I don't know how that's gonna work. If you can't separate, it doesn't matter how good your
He's
routes are.
also hurt
So
right now.
yeah, I also heard he's hurt, and that was one of the things about Brandon Ayuk's situation. And I've been watching NFL Live, and watching different programming, and the fact that he got hurt, it's like, oh, now they really need Brandon Ayuk more because he's a rookie, and the fact that he's hurt and he's going to be out for some time, it's going to be a growing process for him, and you can't just rely on Jawan Jennings and Debo Samuel, because Debo Samuel, as you mentioned, he's not a route runner. Like I saw that we all saw that Giants game. Like we saw that Thursday night Giants game. The dude literally, the only reason he was able to cook what was his name that corner from USC. The Giants corner, I forgot his name. He went to USC, but the dude, he's garbage. Like he's absolutely garbage. He literally just
Was that
I,
last season?
this was last season. I remember it was Thursday night game, and Debo Samuel, he ran one of the worst double moves I've ever seen, and it worked because the Giants corner is that bad. I
Mm.
forgot dude's name. He was with the Titans, then he went to the Giants. He went to USC. I forgot dude's name, but
Oh,
he was god awful.
Dory Jackson.
Yeah, Adoree freaking Jackson. He allowed Debo Samuel to cook him on that double move. It was one of the worst double moves you could ever do in your life. It looked like what what's dude's name?
Spencer James.
Spencer James. It looked like Spencer James was running routes out there, and it worked. But Debo Samuel, he does a lot for that offense. Obviously, he can work as a running back. You can play him in the slot, you can play him outside, but also
Screen game.
screen game, but you need a route running extraordinaire that could separate, and that's why Brandon Ayuk is so important. The fact that we don't really know what's going to happen with Brandon Ayuk, it's really 50-50. It's really 50-50 he'll stay or not. And that's the confusing part of everything. But what I can say is, despite that, I believe they'll win a division convincingly, unless Brock Purdy just stinks up the joint and gets exposed because Brandon Ayuk and Trent Williams is not playing or something like that. Unless Brock Purdy regresses down to the means, I just don't see them losing.
Oh man, I can't wait. I cannot wait until this off season for the 49ers, because you're gonna have to pay old Brock Purdy. And if you're gonna pay him 200 plus million, say Godspeed to that franchise.
Mm. Oh, they're gonna have to pay him 200 M's. If Tua is getting paid all that money,
Oh
what do you think
man,
Brock Purdy gonna get
I
paid?
hope they get Brock. Oh my gosh, that would be the funniest day ever.
And see, before all the news about Trent Williams and Brandon Ayuk came out, I was like, man, maybe the 49ers, maybe this could be their year finally. But after everything that has transpired, I'm like, "Ugh, they'll win a division, but I don't know. There's a couple other teams that I feel very confident
It seems like
more than the 49ers.
a lot of the teams in the NFC is dealing with organizational issues and things like that. The
Mhm.
obviously the Eagles head coaching debacles or whatever. Obviously 49ers, Cowboys. I haven't heard nothing about the Packers though. So y'all, I have a
No
take.
owner.
I have a take. Um,
What?
once we start getting into predicting games and stuff that I gotta say about the Packers. I can tell you. I'll
Oh,
tell you after we end the live. I'll tell you after we end the live.
oh man. All right, yeah. We'll save that. It's a little sneak peek for later down the line. We might revisit this clip, and I might post it on the clip when you mention it and stuff. But man, I'm very intrigued. Like now you got me a little excited. All right. Oh man, but yeah, the 49ers. Let's get to let's get to ranking the divisional teams for the NFC West. Number one, obviously, I'm gonna go with the San Francisco 49ers. Number two, I'm gonna go with the Los Angeles Rams. I think it's pretty much the same thing that happened last year. It's going to be the San Francisco 49ers, it's going to be Los Angeles Rams, it's going to be Seattle Seahawks, and it's going to be Arizona Cardinals.
Okay, I'm gonna go with the 49ers at one. Obviously, they're going to win the division. But two, I'm gonna go with the Seahawks.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go with the Seahawks because I feel that with worst case scenario, I would trust them, aka their quarterback's going down. I would trust Sam Howell way more than Stetson Bennett. And Matthew Stafford is already dealing with injuries, so it's kind of looking like it may be inevitable he may miss some games coming up this year. And do I trust Stetson Bennett to tread water? Not
No.
really. I'm gonna be honest. And the Seahawks, they got Mike McDonald as a defensive
Mm-hmm.
coordinator. I mean, our head coach, and he has a
Mm-hmm.
big role in that defense. So I expect them to be very good. And the offense is still going to be good. They got a whole bunch of weapons on the field. I'm gonna go with the Seahawks at 2. I think they'll go win. I think it'll be slight though. It'll be like maybe like a one game or like a matchup. They got the tiebreaker or something. It'll be something like that. 3, I'm gonna go with the Rams. I think they'll be pretty good. They did well last year. I don't expect them to regress or anything unless some major injuries happen. And last, I'm gonna put Cardinals. They just don't have the roster yet. They're still work in progress. It's only Jonathan Gannon's second year into pretty much what seems like a rebuild. Because I don't the old Cardinals that was contending the playoffs with Cliff Kingsbury, it's very few far between of them dudes even left on the roster still. So yeah, I'm gonna go Cardinals 4. I don't they won't be like they won't be picking in the top 5 of the draft this year. But they won't be a playoff team.
They'll be in the top 10 though. They'll be in the top 10, but they won't be in the top 5 for sure. So that's a major improvement.
Invest in the Cardinals offense if you win fantasy.
Oh yeah.
They're gonna be putting up a lot of points. It's gonna be a shootout every week for them.
It's gonna be entertaining. It's gonna be very entertaining. I know that for sure. Kyler Murray, he's back. You have Marvin Harrison Jr., who clips I've seen has been tremendous, and I can't wait to see him tonight.
This is ridiculous. Yeah. Marvin Harrison is too big to be moving like that.
Yeah, and like the way he moves it feels like it's in slow motion,
but he's like super fast.
He's gliding. Like he's just gliding. Like it's so fluid.
Like you saw that one clip where he ran like a streak or whatever, and like the DB was like running his heart out, and Marvin Harris is just like,
yeah.
Like, what is going on?
Yeah, I was like, okay, man, it just looks too easy. I can't remember a receiver that resembled that per se. I don't know.
There's a receiver, but I'm not going to say it.
Jerry Rice.
No.
Randy Moss.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but like as a route runner though, like just the smoothness and the elegance when he just runs his route.
Someone that big route shouldn't be that clean and crisp.
Like it just looks too smooth. It looks too clean.
And he be getting so low in and out of his break, just like, oh my God, how is he doing that?
Yeah, so it looks like art. It looks like a painting. It's like somebody's just painting something, and that's just what his route running looks like to me. And the fact he's able to get separation, which was a concern by some people, they said, "Oh, well, he gets separation." Like, come on, man.
Who said that?
I mean, like, just certain scouts, they say, "Oh, will he be able to separate consistently?" And I'm just like,
what film were they watching?
I don't know. I think they don't think he's as fast as what people believe he is to be.
Well, he didn't run in the combine, so
yeah, that's the problem. He didn't run the combine, but
you can look at the film and see he's freaking fast. He's at least 4.4 at the very least.
Yeah, I just think it's because at Ohio State, especially with the quarterback they had, which
they had
Kyle
what's
McCord.
His name? Yeah, Kyle McCord.
Like he wasn't going to be able to run a lot of deep routes. Like it wasn't going to happen.
CJ Stroud, they were stretching the field.
Yeah, CJ Stroud. Yeah, that boy, man, he was cooking on all cylinders. Ask Georgia how he's looking in the first half before he went out. Ask him.
I was nervous.
He was dominant.
Listen, I saw Marvin Harrison go. I did the Drake meme. Man.
Yep. It was over. You like, oh man, I can breathe. I can breathe again. I can breathe.
And it still came down to a field goal. I was, oh Lord.
Yeah, dude's going to be an amazing. I expect him to have a similar season to Odell Beckham, to a Justin Jefferson in his first year, to a Puka Nakua. I expect him to be that good this year.
I expect him and Neighbors to have really good numbers. Well, at least Neighbors will be open on film. Let's just say that
He's
Neighbors
he's
will
going
be
to do his
open on
job.
film.
He's
Yeah,
going to do his job, but the QB Daniel Jones,
different
I don't
story.
know if he'll do his job. All right, man. Well, is there anything else you want to discuss before we get out of here? I can't think of anything as of right now.
Oh,
So
just getting ready to see some preseason ball. Also, who at the NFL thought it was a good idea to start the Cowboys preseason game at 10 o'clock at night on
goddamn,
Eastern Standard Time? I
goddamn.
don't care if they're playing the Raiders. That game won't be over till 1 a.m.
Oh yeah, how did you feel about Drake May's debut?
I wish I saw it. I did not see it.
Oh,
I
okay.
heard
So
he made some. I know. I seen the clips where Javon Baker he dropped a pretty good ball by
mhm.
Drake May and stuff. I heard he's been looking nice. I heard he's been looking
he
nice.
was he was all right. I mean, it was in limited action, but he played about. I think he played maybe 2 quarters. He played
Hmm,
a good amount of football in that preseason game. It was all right. I wasn't able to watch every snap, but some of the stuff that I seen, I mean, he looked all right. He looked like he was very comfortable in what he's doing. He looked like he knew what he was doing. He didn't look overwhelmed,
okay,
which is
that's
good.
good.
As a young QB, that means that you're able to process information and the game isn't going too fast for you. So that's good. He was able to rush for a touchdown, very Josh Allen-esque. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I was overly impressed, but what I will say is that there wasn't any negativities that I saw from him. So that's a good sign. Um, and so yeah, Caleb Williams, the preseason game for Caleb
He's
Williams,
actually playing now.
oh, he is. Oh, I gotta watch it. But yeah, man, that'll do it for this episode of Courtside View Podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, hit the notification bell for all the socials as well. And we'll see you guys on the next episode of Courtside View Podcast. Stay tuned for our AFC divisions preview for each division in the AFC. That's gonna be really good. That's gonna be really fun. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy the video. Thank you guys for watching and peace.
Salute.
All right.